Good morning, this is Ravensbourne News with the latest reports around London. I'm Devin Bakar and here are the top stories. Rishi Sunak has added pressure on the education system with a surprise announcement. Rail strikes bring the country to a standstill, gun violence remains an issue in our capital as Rapalowski receives a sentence, and for our football fans, an update from our own sports correspondent Dylan Charvel. But first, maths. Not exactly everyone's favourite subject, but important enough to feature in the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's first speech of the year. On the 4th of January 2023 at number 10 Downing Street, Sunak announced that he wants all UK students to study maths until the age of 18 so that they can feel confident with their finances. Leah Atkinson has more on the story.
The Prime Minister wants every UK student to study maths in some form until the age of 18. He says this will help them go out into a world where data is everywhere and statistics underpin every job. He also pointed out that only half of students currently enrolled in college and A-level courses are taking maths, though this statistic does include those enrolled in science courses and doing compulsory GCSE maths research.
We interviewed staff and students at the Ravensbourne School, Bromley, to learn what they think about the Prime Minister's plans.
My personal opinion is that for most people it's a waste of time, as there is not enough resources or teachers to teach at two extra year groups for another 2 years of their maths career. However, I currently do maths, and although I enjoy it, it's definitely not for everyone.
Though Sunak has good intentions with his maths plan, it may be impossible to carry out. Despite the 2022 autumn statement revealing extra school funding for 5 to 16-year-olds over the next couple of years, there is no extra funding for those aged 16 to 18 enrolled in further education. On top of this, many people, notably Sir Peter Lampall, chairman of the Education Endowment Foundation, have spoken out about a severe shortage of maths teachers. To gain more insight on this possible issue, we interviewed head of the maths department at the Ravensbourne School, Mrs. Patel. What are your personal opinions on Rishi Sunak wanting everyone to study maths until the age of 18?
I think it will be really, really tough. I think it's very difficult to get maths teachers at the moment, so I'm not sure where we're going to get some more maths teachers from. And I also think we need to define what kind of maths does he want everyone to do until they're 18, because there's lots of different things that are available already, like GCSE, functional skills, core maths, A-level. So what is it that he wants them all to do, and what does he want to get out of all of those students doing maths? Because it's really lovely if you're into it, but if you're not, then it's really tricky.
As a maths teacher, do you think that you'd realistically have time in your timetable, and with the lack of teachers at the moment, for this to go forward?
I think if you consider our sixth form and how many students are in it, and if they all needed to be learning maths in year 12 and year 13, I don't know how we would fit that into the timetable that we have now. So we definitely have to employ some more teachers and get some more time. Yeah.
We also talked to parents of the secondary school students to see what they think about Sunak's maths proposal and how it would affect their children's education.
I do not think it's a good idea. I think the way we are in our situation, forcing children to stay in education up until the age of 18 is not good, because not everybody is suited for education. Some people want to leave school, like my dad. He left school at 16 and joined the army, and he still built a good career around himself. Staying in education is not always the best choice for everybody.
If Rishi Sunak's plan goes ahead, the college and sixth form experience will change completely. Though Maths A-Level won't be enforced, all students would be subjected to extra compulsory maths lessons which aim to better educate them in aspects such as finances. However, not everyone agrees with the Prime Minister that this is a good idea, and many believe it can't realistically be achieved, especially due to the UK's dwindling number of maths teachers. I'm Leah Atkinson for TRS News. Back to the studio.
Thank you, Leah. Next, we'll be discussing the strikes currently wrecking chaos in London and elsewhere across the UK. After a significant disruption over the Christmas period, strikes are still happening in the month of January 2023, with rail strikes still happening across England, impacting on those with jobs and with healthcare services. Industrial action has not only affected rail workers, but many people too on journeys. Even the new PM, Rishi Sunak, is believed to be preparing tough new laws to limit the impact. Here's why with our transport correspondent.
Since the beginning of 2022 just last year, strikes became apparent as unions walked in dispute over financial pay and working conditions during the cost of living crisis that has mostly affected many people across all of England. Union leaders have talked up the possibility of coordinated action, raising the potential of a general strike in the UK. But what would it take for members of the union to stop the rail strikes from continuing? Another report states that the rail industry is under pressure to save money after the pandemic left a hole in its finances. Bosses say reforms need to be agreed to afford pay increases and modernize the railway. Network Rail is planning to cut 1,900 jobs as part of changes to the way its maintenance teams work, although it insists most of this could be achieved by people leaving voluntarily. But of course, this kind of subject matter is not only the rail union workers, but also members of the public with job services, perhaps in the struggle for union workers to act and to encourage those responsible to improve the working conditions and their financial pay to prevent events like these from happening again. More strikes are believed and likely to be carried over to the next months. For the rail strikes? First of all, what do you think of people are unable to go to work due to rail strikes?
Well, I think it's really hard for them to get to their destination because they can't really travel as far with car or bus.
Following up that question, would that be a certain problem for family and friends who have places to go and works to do at a certain point in time?
Of course, it would be really hard for them to get far or, as far.
Yeah. And what is your opinion on the rail strikes that is affecting journeys to school and work?
Well, I think it's quite hard on everyone, especially in the time that we are. Yeah.
These actions have severe consequences for the public, but have the right reasons in doing to ensure a better future. This is Timothy Penna, and now back to the studio.
A well-known rapper who was popular with teenagers was a part of a high-profile gang in South London and was found guilty of possessing a loaded gun. Jarrell O'Connor, otherwise known as Lowski on social media, was found guilty on January 4th, 2023. The investigation was led by Detective Constable Andy Snazzle at Met Police. Specialist Crime Command following a long 3 years of an investigation. Now moving on to Maria Cribbin, who has more detailed information about the crime.
Jarrell O'Connor was at court when the judge and the jury heard that he was a part of a high-profile gang in South London, which has been causing recent disturbance upon the public. On April 9th, 2019, Jarrell O'Connor was spotted in getting into an Uber under a false name. Uniformed and ununiformed officers stopped the Uber on St Andrews Road on the A40. The vehicle was then searched and the officers found a black sock containing a loaded revolver under the seat where Jarrell O'Connor was sitting.
In a previous report on the case that you are cited in as saying there was no doubt that Lowski or his gang associates would have used the revolver in future, what sort of gun violence is most typical in London at the moment?
There's two distinct sides of gun violence. There'll be like straightforward possession of firearms, which would be firearms that are held by people, that i.e. they possess them, and we might come across them, finding them during searches, people's houses, warrants that we do, or stops and searches.
Forensic analysis of the firearm confirmed it to be a 4mm Flowbert caliber revolver with loaded live ammunition. His DNA was found on the loading face of the cylinder. O'Connor denied the charges and claimed he was forced to hold onto the gun after a drug dealer made threats against his and his mother's lives. I personally support Arsenal as I think they have the ability to win this game and become the champions. This can be seen by their recent increase in wins and overall rise in their skill. We will be looking at the public opinion on this upcoming game to see what people truly think about the fight for the first place to the Premier League. Come on, you Gunners!
Today we're in North London to see the upcoming game between Arsenal and Man City, which is happening on the 27th of January, 8 p.m. Now back to the studio.
Currently, we have information on the Man City manager's Pep Guardiola opinion on this upcoming game. He said, "Think we, as a team, As a club, we need this type of challenge. This doesn't mean we're going to catch them. I don't know right now. I have to adjust a few things, but this is a challenge. That's why it's nice. By saying this, he knows that Man City are going to be a challenge, but still have the chance to beat Arsenal.
Arsenal, also known as the Gunners, is a London football team that is supported worldwide and is also known as one of the best clubs of all time, founded in 1886. Man City, also known as Sky City, is an English football team that was founded in 1880. This team is watched and supported by fans all over the world. The Premier League is a British football league that started on the 20th of February 1992. At the end of the season, the team that comes first wins a trophy, and by winning this trophy they gain more money, allowing them to buy more players to help build their team, which they use to have more of an advantage for the next upcoming seasons.
What do you think? Why do you think this game is important?
As I was saying, game's important because Arsenal are 5 points clear. They've got a game in hand which makes them 8 points clear if they win their potential game. If Man City lose this game, Arsenal are going to be too far ahead for anyone to catch them up. Bearing in mind, other clubs, i.e. Chelsea, Liverpool, even Newcastle, Manchester United, they're too far off the top of the table to do anything about. And I'll be honest with you, this is going to be Arsenal's best opportunity to win the Premier League. They're never going to be in a better position. And if you offered the Arsenal team having a 5 point gap going in after February, I'm sure they would have snapped up or taken your hand off having a 5 point lead. But in regards to the game, if Arsenal win, that will be the season over and Arsenal will be the champions.